We are back today, and I'm opening this novel, Swami and Friends by R.K. Narayan. I'm opening chapter 2. This chapter 2 we are starting. This is headed, named Rajam and Mani. That's the name of this chapter. River Sarayu was the pride of Malgudi. We are talking about a place called Malgudi, and in Malgudi there is a school, and in that school there is a student called Swami and his friends in the school. That is what this story is about. So, River Sarayu flowed there in the Malgudi village, and River Sarayu was the pride of Malgudi. It was some 10 minutes walk from Ellaman Street, the last street of the village, of the town, chiefly occupied by oilmongers. So, oilmonger is people who sell oil. Its sandbanks were the evening resort of all the people of the town. So, evening they'll go to the river bank and they will relax there. And that was a very pleasant image. Can you visualize? There's a village, there's a town, and then 10 minutes from the last road, it's open space, and then there is the river, and it's open. It's beautiful. So they would go there in the evenings. The municipal president took any distinguished visitor, any visitor to the town, was always taken there to show, see, this is the river, and this is the place where people can come relax, children can play, and etc. So, and in the moonlight, this river glistened like a silver belt across the north. The usual evening crowd was on the sand. Swaminathan and Mani sat aloof on a river step with their legs dangling in water. The people branches overhanging the river rustled pleasantly. People is a kind of tree, and they along the river bank they were sitting near a tree, a people tree, and its branches were overhanging the water, the river. It rustled pleasantly. A light breeze played about the boughs and scattered stray leaves on the gliding stream. Birds filled the air with their cries. Far away, near Nallapa's mango grove, a little downstream, a herd of cattle was crossing the river. You can imagine this small town, it's a village town, and this is a river flowing. That's the town. And the town has got so many cows from which they get their milk. Those cows are taken by the owner to drink water, and they were crossing the river there downstream. And then a country cart driven by bullocks passed. There was it is called a bullock cart. The cartman humming a low tune. It was some 15 minutes past sunset, and there was a soft red in the west. It was such a lovely evening scene, pleasant and relaxed, and everyone was comfortably enjoying the evening. So these two boys, Mani and Swami, were sitting on a step near the people tree. Then Mani asked, "The water runs very deep here, doesn't it?" Mani asked. So Swami said, "Yes." Why? Mani says, "Then I'm going to bring Rajam here, bundle him up, and throw him in the river." This Mani is a little bit of a tough guy, and what do you call it? A bully guy. So he said he'll bundle up Rajam and throw him into the river at this point. Now, this Rajam was a new child, new boy in their class, and he had sauntered into the class on the opening day of the second term, walked up to the last bench, and sat beside Mani. If you remember, this Mani used to be the tough guy in the class, and he would come into the class and go straight to the last bench, lie down there and sleep. And no teacher would dare to disturb him because they were all scared of him. The teachers were scared of this big boy Mani. And he has been in the class forever. Even before Swami joined the school and even after he continued. So this boy, Rajam, was a newcomer, and he had on the very first day gone to the last bench and sat by the side of Mani. Mani gave him a jab in the ribs. So this Rajam returned the jab. They pinched in the ribs like this. So that was their introduction. He had impressed the whole class on the very first day. He was a newcomer, and he dressed very well, and he was the only boy in the class who wore socks and shoes, fur cap, and a tie, and a wonderful coat and knickers. So this boy, Rajam, was nattily dressed. He had socks and shoes, and he had a tie, and the others were ordinary, ragtag clothes, because it was just a small town, and there was no highbrow, no fashion, no elegance. It was just comfortable and happy, and they did not have to stickle for formality. So, but this boy, being new, he had come with all very neatly pressed clothes, and I'll read it again. He dressed very well. He was the only boy in the class who wore socks and shoes. The other boys, no socks, no shoes. They would just wear their sandals or the slippers, the Hawaii slippers, and no socks. And this boy had a cap, and he had a tie and a coat and knickers, and he came to the school in a car. He was dropped in a car to the school. As well as all this, he proved to be a very good student too. So this Rajam was a very good student also. And there were vague rumors that he had come from the English boys' school somewhere in Madras. He spoke very good English, exactly like the Europeans, which meant that few in the school could make out what he said, because it has to be spoken the way the local people spoke. And if it is spoken by like how the Europeans speak, the local people would not understand. So it's what will happen to you also if you listen to somebody from another language community speaking English. They will pronounce the words differently. They will pause at different places and go up and down the sentence differently. And then you will ask what he said. They'll have to repeat it and tell you again. So, which many of the classmates could not trust themselves to speak to him. They were afraid to speak to him because they could not understand what he said. Only Shankar, the genius of the class, had the courage to face him, though his English sounded halting and weak before that of Rajam. Even Shankar could speak well, but his English was of the routine type of the local population. Thus, this Rajam was a rival to Mani. In his manner to Mani, he assumed a certain nonchalance to which Mani was not accustomed. If Mani jabbed, Rajam jabbed. If money clouted, he clouted. If money kicked, he kicked. If money was overlord of the class, Rajam seemed to be nothing less. So these two were playing with each other, or maybe drumming up a quarrel, a fight, by pinching, kicking, and knocking on the head, etc. And add to all this the fact that Rajam was a regular 70%. He got 70% marks, second only to Shankar. There were sure indications that Rajam was the new power in the class. Day by day, as Mani looked on, it was becoming increasingly clear that a new menace had appeared in his life. So this Rajam was going to take over from Mani, where Mani was the big bully. Rajam would become the leader. All this lay behind his decision on the river step to bundle up Rajam. Oh yes, so this Mani felt Rajam to be a threat who had come to harass him, and he was more he was courageous to play up to or retort when Mani did something. Rajam would do it. So Mani decided he doesn't want Rajam around. So he said, "Oh yes, this river is deep here. So I will bundle up this Rajam and throw him into the river to get rid of him." Then Swaminathan expressed a little fear. "But you forget that his father is the police superintendent." "Oh, this new boy Rajam's father is a police superintendent." So, police superintendent is a big officer in the police force. So he can have he can have big powers. He can do law and order work, and he can arrest if anybody does wrong things. So Mani remained silent for a while and said, "What do I care? Some night I'm going to crack his shoulders with my club." Then Swami said, "If I were you, I would keep out of the way of policemen. They are an awful lot," said Swaminathan. "If you were me, huh? But thank God I am not you, a milk-toothed coward like you." So Mani put down Swami like that. Swaminathan bit his lips and sighed. "And that reminds me," said the other, "you are in need of a little warning. I find you hanging about that Rajam a bit too much. Well, have a care for your limbs. That's all I can say. So be careful, because if you hang out too much with Rajam, well, I may have to break your leg." Swaminathan broke into loud protestations. Did Mani think that Swaminathan could respect anyone but him? Mani, the dear old friend and guide, what made him think that? As far as Swaminathan could remember, he had never been within 3 yards of Rajam. Oh, how he hated him, that vile upstart. When had Mani seen him with Rajam? Oh yes, it must have been that day during the drawing period on Monday. It was Rajam who had come and talked to him in spite of the cold face that he showed, and had wanted a pencil sharpener, which he did not get, as he was promptly directed to go to the shop and buy it if he wanted it. So that is the introduction of Rajam into the group. So when Swami told all this to Mani, that no, he only came to ask me for a pencil, and then I said, no, if you want, go to the shop and buy it. This pleased Mani greatly. For the first time that evening, he laughed, and he laughed heartily. He shook Swaminathan and gave such an affectionate twist to his ear that Swaminathan gave a long howl. And then he suddenly asked, "Did you bring the thing that I wanted?" Now, this Mani had asked Swami to bring something. And what was it? "Oh, Mani, I beg 100 pardons from you. My mother was all the time in the kitchen, so I could not get it." It means what had Mani asked for? He had asked for lime pickle from Swami's mother's kitchen. So the mother was in the kitchen doing some work, so Swami could not take a little from the pickle. So when he said, "You are a nasty coward," and gave him another knock on the head. And then Swaminathan was to act as a cord of communication between Rajam and Mani. Okay, so Swaminathan being friend of Rajam and friend of Mani, he was the communication line between them. They were sitting on the last bench with their hacks against the yellow wall. Swaminathan sat between Rajam and Mani. Their books were before them on the desks, but their minds were very busy. Mani wrote on a piece of paper, "Are you a man?" and gave it to Swaminathan, who pushed it across the table to Rajam, putting on an offensive look. Rajam read it, crumpled it, and threw it away. At which Mani wrote another note repeating the question with the addition, "Are you a man? You are the son of a dog if you don't answer this," and pushed it across. And Swami pushed it to Rajam. Rajam hissed into Swaminathan's face, "You scoundrel, don't disturb me," and crumpled the letter. Further progress was stopped. "Swaminathan, stand up," said the teacher. Swaminathan stood up faithfully. "What is Lisbon famous for?" asked the teacher. Swaminathan hesitated and hesitantly said, "For being the capital of Spain." The teacher bit his mustache and fired a second question. What do you know about the Indian climate?" "Sir, it is hot in summer and cold in winter." "Stand up on the bench," wrote the teacher. And Swaminathan stood without a protest. He was glad that he was given this supposedly degrading punishment instead of the cane. If the cane had been used, he would have been very unhappy and it would have hurt him. The teacher resumed his lessons. Africa was a land of forests. Nile was the most important river there. Did they understand? What did he say? He selected someone from the first bench to answer this question. So the first bench boy answered, Nile was the most important river of Africa, and etc. After the teacher was happy with that answer, and what is the Nile? Teacher asked. The Nile is the most important river of Africa. That is the answer. And the teacher said, good, and sit down. Let me read one more sentence. Let them go on making noise, and they would get a clean big zero in the examination. He would see to that. So the teacher turned and said, why there's so much noise in the class? If you make noise, all of you will get zero in your exam. So Swaminathan paid no attention to the rest of the lessons. His mind began to wander. Standing on the bench, he stood well over the entire class. He could see so many heads, and he classified them according to the caps. There were 4 red caps, 25 Gandhi caps, 10 fur caps, and so on. So, for going to school, they used to wear cap. So some of them wore red cap, some of them wore Gandhi cap, some wore fur cap, and so on. So this boy Swami was counting. Oh yes, there are 4 caps, there are 3 Gandhi caps, and so on. When the work for the day was over, Swaminathan, Mani and Rajam adjourned to a scheduled spot to say what was in their minds. So they went to a corner. Swaminathan stood between them and acted as a medium of communication. They were so close that they could have heard each other. So Swaminathan was supposed to tell Mani what Rajam said. And Mani will say something and Swaminathan has to turn to Rajam and say that. But they were so near each other that when Mani spoke, Rajam could hear it. And when Rajam could, Mani could hear it. But it was a matter of form between enemies to communicate through the medium. Mani faced Swaminathan steadily and asked, "Are you a man?" Swaminathan turned to Rajam and repeated, "Are you a man?" Rajam flared up and shouted, "Which dog doubts it?" Swaminathan turned to Mani and ferociously said, "Which dog doubts it? Have you the courage to prove that you are a man?" asked Mani. Swaminathan turned to Rajam and repeated, "Have you the courage to prove that you are a man?" Then Rajam asked, "How?" Swami turned to Mani and said, "How?" So then Mani says, "Meet me at the river near Nallappa's grove tomorrow morning." So Swaminathan turned to Rajam and said, "Meet me at the river near Nallappa's grove tomorrow morning." Then Rajam asked, "What for?" Swami turned and told Mani, "What for?" Mani says, "To see if you can break my head to pieces," said Rajam. Oh, so Rajam is saying, "To see if you can break my head to pieces." Swaminathan's services were no longer required because now Mani and Rajam were talking directly. So Mani said, Swaminathan said, why should I come there to see if you can break my head into pieces? Then in no time, they gave him no time to repeat those words. Rajam shouted in one ear and Mani in the other ear. So the Swamis, both ears were completely deaf. So we may expect you at the river tomorrow, said Swaminathan. Yes, Rajam assured him. Mani wanted to know if the other would come with guards, or he would come with some other boys to support him, or he would come alone. Then Rajam said, "No, I don't need anybody." And Mani voiced another doubt. "If anything happens to you, will you promise to keep it out of your father's knowledge?" Rajam promised, "Don't worry, I won't tell my father." After repudiating the very suggestion that he might not otherwise. So Nallappa's grove stood a few yards before them. It was past 6, and the traffic for the day between the banks was over. The usual evening crowd was far behind them. Swaminathan and Mani were squatting on the sand. They were silent. Mani was staring at the ground, scratching on the ground with a small wooden club under his arm. He was thinking he was going to break Rajam's head in a short while and throw his body into the river. But if it should be recovered, then how would they know that he had done it? But if Rajam should come and trouble him at night as a spirit, should but if Rajam should come and trouble him at night as a spirit, then since his grandfather's death, he was sleeping alone. What if Rajam should come and pull his hair at night? After all, it would be better not to kill him. So this Swami is imagining so much that Mani is going to kill Rajam. So he thinks it is better not to kill him. He would content himself with breaking his legs and leaving him to his fate. If he should batter his head, he was going to find out. Unless, of course, he cast a sly look at Swaminathan, who was blinking innocently. Unless, of course, Swaminathan informed the police. So this is Mani is thinking about all this, whether he should break the head, whether he should throw him, and all that. And at the sound of the creaking of boots, they turned and found that Rajam had come. So Mani and Swaminathan were there at the bank of the river, and Mani was imagining all this. What will he do? He'll break his head and throw Rajam and all that. Then what if he informs? And at that time, the shoes came, the sound of his shoes, they turned and found that Rajam had come. He was dressed in khaki, carried under his arm an air gun that was given to him a couple of months ago on his birthday. He stood very stiff and said, "Here I am, ready." "Oh, you are late." "Yes, we'll start." Rajam shouldered his gun and fired a shot in the air. Mani was startled. He stood still, his club down. So Mani had brought a club and Rajam has brought an air gun. "You heard the shot?" asked Rajam. "The next is going to be into your body, if you are keen upon a fight." "But this is unfair. I have no gun, but you have a gun. It was to be a hand-to-hand fight. Then why have you brought your club? You never said anything about the club yesterday." Mani hung down his head. "What have I done to offend you?" asked Rajam. "You called me a sneak before someone." "That's a lie." There was an awkward pause. The two boys are fighting. There was an awkward pause. "If this is all the cause of your anger, forget it. I won't mind being friends." "Nor I," said Mani. So Rajam says, "If that is the only cause, then forget it. I never told that. So I don't mind being friends." So Mani says, "Yes, I don't mind being friends." So they became friends. Swaminathan gasped with astonishment. In spite of his posing before Mani, he admired Rajam intensely and longed to be his friend. Now this was happening. Happiest conclusion to all the unwanted trouble. He danced with joy. Rajam lowered his gun and Mani dropped his club. To show his goodwill, Rajam pulled out of his pocket half a dozen biscuits. The river's mild rumble, the rustling of the people's leaves, the half-light of the late evening, and the three friends eating and glowing with the new friendship, Swaminathan felt at perfect peace with the world. So they became friends, Swaminathan, Mani, and Rajam. That ended today's story. Bye. Adios.